Hey everyone, today we're diving into the fascinating origin story of a fuel that so many of us use every single day. So join me as we trace the incredible journey of LPG, from its beginnings deep inside the Earth all the way to your home.
I mean, it's an object we see all the time, right? But have you ever really stopped to think about what's inside and where it all comes from? Well, that is exactly what we are going to unpack. Okay, so first things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly is LPG?
So LPG stands for Liquefied Petroleum Gas. It's not just one single thing, but a specific mix of two hydrocarbons, which is really just a fancy term for molecules made of hydrogen and carbon, named propane and butane. Now, the most crucial part of its name is liquefied, and that's done by putting the gas under some serious pressure. We'll get into why that's so important in just a little bit.
And why do we rely on it so much? Well, because it's incredibly versatile. It burns cleanly and super efficiently, which makes it an ideal fuel for pretty much everything, from cooking a meal and heating a home to powering heavy industrial machinery. Now for the origin story. To find out where LPG comes from, we have to travel way back in time and deep, deep underground. Here's a key thing. You can't just go out and mine for LPG. It isn't found just floating around on its own. Instead, it's actually a byproduct locked away inside other fossil fuels that are buried far, far below our feet. It comes from two main sources. About 60% of our LPG is pulled out during natural gas processing, and the other 40% is separated out when we refine crude oil. So you see, its journey is fundamentally tied to these two massive energy resources. This brings us to the most critical and, yeah, technical part of the journey: getting the LPG out of those raw materials. Let's call it the Great Separation. It all starts with drilling rigs that bring raw crude oil and natural gas up to the surface. From there, the two resources go down different paths, but the goal is always the same: to isolate those valuable lighter hydrocarbons, our friends propane and butane. In a natural gas plant, the raw gas is just this messy mix of impurities. The job here is to clean it all up. They have to remove things like water, carbon dioxide, and sulfur. Once all of that is stripped away, you're left with the pure LPG gas we're looking for. For crude oil, the process is a little different. In a refinery, the oil is heated up in a really tall column. This kicks off something called fractional distillation. As the oil gets hotter, different fuels turn into gas and rise up at different temperatures. The lighter ones, like propane and butane, float all the way to the very top, where they can be captured. Pretty neat, huh? So now we have our pure gas. But how does it get into that canister? This is where the real magic happens, and it's all about putting it under pressure. By subjecting propane and butane gas to some truly tremendous pressure, we can actually force its molecules closer and closer together until, poof, it transforms from a gas into a liquid. It's a brilliant piece of physics with a very, very practical purpose. And why go to all that trouble? Because as a liquid, LPG takes up so much less space, about 250 times less, believe it or not. This transformation makes the fuel compact and stable, which is absolutely perfect for storing it and transporting it safely and efficiently. Okay, let's move on to the final leg of the journey and see how this newly created liquid fuel gets from those massive processing plants into our communities and finally into our homes. The storage happens on two completely different scales. On the industrial side, you've got these massive tanks and refineries holding just vast quantities of LPG. Then, for domestic use, that liquid is transferred into the much smaller, portable cylinders that we're all familiar with. But this entire process, from deep underground all the way to our kitchens, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a huge, interconnected global supply chain. That means geopolitical events, like conflicts affecting major shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz, can have a direct and immediate impact. In response to these exact kinds of disruptions, the Indian government, for example, had to direct its domestic producers to ramp up production by a massive 25%. This single number really shows you just how vital and how sensitive the supply of this everyday fuel can be. So the next time you see a gas canister, you'll know the incredible journey it took, from deep earth deposits through complex refinement and under immense pressure, all while being influenced by global events. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our ever-changing world, what does the future of this essential fuel really look like?